Welcome back, everybody. We're still taking our conversation further with regards to migrants and asylum seekers in South Africa. Now, my colleague Sakina Kamwendo is in Marabastad at the Desmond Tutu Refugee Reception Centre, and she'll be chatting to Sharon, the head of Refugee and Migrant Rights at Lawyers for Human Rights, and Captain Mavimbela from the South African Police Services. She'll also be talking to some of the African nationals who are still seeking asylum status at that particular centre. And we cross over to her right now. Sakina, good morning. It's over to you.
And welcome back, Simpiwe. And just continuing to tell the story of what is actually happening here. And don't go away, because we will be getting a response from Home Affairs here on Morning Live. Simpiwe will be doing that interview with one of the Directors General here. But we continue to tell the story from the people who come here every day for years on end in certain instances. And we will try and shield the identity of those who want to be shielded. But let me just speak to these two gentlemen very quickly before we go on to the police and, of course, Lawyers for Human Rights. Sir, you wanted to talk to me about some of the difficulties that you are experiencing and members of your family as well.
Good morning, Commander. Good morning, the viewers. And then really this situation that we are facing, that the community is facing, is really alarming, because for quite a long period of time, I'm coming in this center of Pretoria for my two children to be helped to have the asylum seeker paper. And then for quite a while, I'm coming here for quite a while, maybe for more than 2 months now. The two children didn't have the asylum seeker yet. And then they are all the time telling me to come back. And then when I'm coming back, really, the paper is not done. And then really there's no situation. And then I'm far away from Western Cape. When I'm coming from Western Cape to Gauteng, and then it's taking me a lot of time. It's taking me a lot of financial sacrifices. And then I don't know if they can open maybe this center in Cape Town, so that really everything must be done, so that it can be easy for me to have maybe this paper done. Because by coming Gauteng, I'm facing this problem of accommodation, I'm facing the financial problem, I'm facing a lot of problems that I'm supposed to have. Before, it was quite easy to have this asylum paper be done in Cape Town. But since then, that the center is closed, we are facing really these challenges. And then sometimes when you are coming here, we are being robbed. And then when you are coming here, there is a long queue of people. And then sometimes we are not being attended, because our day is the same day with Asian people. And then I would like really to plead to each and everyone to close in, so that really this center of Cape Town will be done. Because
how old are your children?
My children, one of them is 18, another one is 16. And then the one who's 16, I was told that he's supposed to get inside my file, because it's still minor. And then my file is from Cape Town, and then I'm supposed to have a family joining. But the 18 is supposed to have maybe his own file, because it's my child. And then since then, it's not there. And then out of these two, I have also one friend of mine who brought me with his child. And the one who came here was 20 years old. The two of them are inside. I don't know if the paper will be done or not, because for quite a while, we are just coming here now and then. I'm not the only one. My children are not only the one, because I can see most of people from Cape Town around here who are also coming for the paper to be done. And then they were coming here for months, for years, and then nothing's been done yet.
Okay, so thank you so much. I just want to bring this gentleman into shot as well. He doesn't want to show his identity, so I'll ask you to stand like that. And if you could just tell us, why you are here and what are the difficulties that you're encountering.
Good day. My name is Eve. So I moved to South Africa with my auntie, and there was a family that received us so well here. They are also our countrymen.
So where did you come from?
From the DRC. So as a 12-year-old child, I didn't really know much about why my aunt was bringing me here. But this family received us so well. So in my case, for instance, I am a bartender by profession. So sometimes it allows me to travel, to go in and out the country for different reasons. Sometimes for competitions, to represent the country, sometimes for anything. But look at my asylum paper. That picture that was taken when I was 12. Now I'm standing in front of you, I'm 25. And on my status, it says account minor. Therefore, I cannot. So, in the face of Home Affairs, I'm still a baby. I still have to be accompanied by someone. So, my problem is not really what really matters. So, the family that received me here, they have a child who was born here in 2001. I stay with that child. It's 18 years old. That child is facing a situation whereby they cannot give him papers. We started the procedures at the beginning of the year, and within Home Affairs there was a handover. We don't know the person who took our files, if they handed it to the next person. But when we came to do a follow-up, we were told that we have to restart afresh from the first step that we did already, and the final exam is just in a few weeks that he has to sit for his final examination.
You know what, I thank you for sharing your story with us, because it's the story of many that we've encountered here and others who've even called us. But thanks for sharing that with us. I'm going to ask you to walk that way so that we don't show your face, so you can just leave us in that direction. And as you can hear there, and these of course are the stories of so many people who are here, and I kid you not when I say that we've had people who actually have called people who are here because they've seen us broadcasting from here this morning, telling us the stories that have been related to us by some of the people here. Well, let's move it up to some of the officialdom now. Captain Mavimbela from the South African Police Services to speak to some of the issues here around crime. Captain, good morning. And we are told by the people around here that this isn't business as usual. This isn't a normal situation here, because actually what happens here is that people are preyed and pounced upon when they come here to try and fix their papers.
Yeah, I guess that's a most unfortunate situation. However, we are saying the people on the ground should work hand in glove with the local police station. Now, the police station that is overseeing this area is Pretoria Central, and whenever suspicious activity is spotted or suspicious motor vehicles and persons alike, such should be reported without any delay to the police. We will then be able to dispatch police officers who are working in this particular sector to come and sort out whatever issues that people are experiencing.
It sounds like you're passing the buck, quite frankly, Captain, because we know, we got here this morning, we saw people taking bribes here as people were waiting in line, and we told it's common practice here. We had someone who pointed out, as a gentleman that I'm looking at right now, and you can't see him of course, but the allegation is someone pointed him out to me and said to me, that gentleman, a Department of Home Affairs official, he insists on being paid bribes here every day. He harasses people here. They've opened cases, they've laid charges against him. Nothing has ever happened. How many people have ever been prosecuted or had any investigations furthered in terms of the allegations that are leveled against them from here? Are there any cases that have gone the full course for people who have been accused of bribery and corruption here at Home Affairs?
Unfortunately, at this point in time, I do not have those figures with me. Be that as it may, I am aware that there has always been willingness from the South African Police Service to ensure that such cases, if people are alleged to be corrupt, if such persons are reported and we have witnesses who can attest to that, there will always be that willingness to investigate such cases. Secondly, we encourage our people to say, when you see such persons, please do not hesitate to contact your Crime Stop from the side of South African Police Service on 08600 10111. Alternatively, dispatch an anonymous SMS to 32211. Now, let me stress the point that in some instances, in the absence of eyewitnesses, like what is alleged to have taken place this morning, which is serious, we are saying people must come forward, work hand in hand with the police so that we ensure that such alleged characters are prosecuted.
And what are you going to do to protect those people if they do come forward? Because they also allege that the police are in on this corruption, and you work hand in hand with those who are actually defrauding them here at Marabastad.
We have, for example, your witness protection program. However, a case is just on its own merits. Now, if circumstances dictate that the life or the well-being of a whistleblower could be in danger, there will be measures taken to ensure that such persons are kept safe.
So just before I move on, are you aware, as the South African Police Service, of syndicates operating, criminal syndicates operating around this reception centre?
We always receive such allegations, and what is most important is those things you find they do not necessarily happen in the presence of members of the South African Police Service. Hence, we are saying it is important to join hands with police officers. We are taking note of that, and in future we will ensure that in this area we deploy our intelligence and also members in uniform to ensure that such instances do not recur.
Well, thank you, Captain Mavimbela. Tshwane Ekambaram, Head of Refugee and Migrant Rights at Lawyers for Human Rights, thanks for your time as well this morning. You heard what Captain Mavimbela had to say. You heard what some of our other guests had to say that we've spoken to this morning. What's your response to all of that, first and foremost?
Look, we've been working on this issue as Lawyers for Human Rights since, I think, 2007, 2008. We've gone through the waves of xenophobia, and that's been the constant mantra of people. The levels of crime and corruption, standing in the queue, going into Home Affairs, and we have made recommendations. We've met with representatives of the Department of Home Affairs and said, why don't you have mechanisms that will be a deterrent? Put up more visible cameras, have name tags so that if we want to report, we have a name that we can put to say we saw this person actually committing crime. Get a proper complaints mechanism so you can say this is not just people going on a rant. There's people making written complaints with specific details, and we're told there is denialism about the fact that there's corruption. There is, from the Department of Home Affairs in particular, they have categorically said there is no corruption. You bring us the evidence and we will prosecute. Now that's not our job as people living in South Africa. You have to put in place mechanisms to prevent the crime in the first place. But I think my second point is, and this comes from our experience yesterday, the People's Coalition Against Xenophobia marched. We planned to march from Petrus Park, going through Hillbrow to end up at the legislature to hand over a memorandum. And when we started, the police approached us, the JMPD, and said, we have intelligence that there is a planned attempt to stop the march. There's an ambush. That's the words they used. And we are advising you not to use your original route. And we said, well, this is a legal march. We applied for permission, we paid, and we expect to have protection from the police. And they said, we have no resources. We can only allocate 2 cars of police to support and protect your march.
So in conclusion, we're going to speak to Home Affairs next. What are the issues that you want Simpiwe to take up with Home Affairs that need to be addressed?
Well, I think that in the first place, at all refugee reception offices, we need to have in place mechanisms that are a deterrent to bribery and corruption. There's serious consequences for people who come forward and point out who the perpetrators of crime are. It's life and death, and you can't expect people to come forward with that evidence. You have to take proactive measures where you can collect the evidence, whether it's on camera, whatever means, because there is enough complaints for you to take this seriously.
Well, thank you so much, Tshwane Ekambaram, who's the head of Refugee and Migrant Rights at Lawyers for Human Rights. And with that, Simpiwe, as you heard what Tshwane wants you to take up with Home Affairs as well, in terms of the denialism, amongst other things, about what is actually going on around here. This is where we're going to end it here from Marabastad this morning. And thanks so much for joining us. But Simpiwe, looking forward to hearing those answers from Home Affairs. It's over to you.